have this job, but I need a crew. Good pay, lots of notoriety, and I have a person on the inside who almost assures success. You seem a trustworthy lot, but it's hard to tell sometimes. Tell me about your adventures in Phelan. I'm Lore Master Matt.
And I'm Phelan Jon.
And welcome back to the Sleeping Grush podcast, your source for information from every corner of the world of Phelan. 2 out of the 3 of us are coming to you today from Cardboard Corner Cafe, the best game cafe in all of Kansas City. If you find yourself in Kansas City and want a place to hang out, have good food, good drink, and play some games, do not hesitate. Run, don't walk to Cardboard Corner Cafe, now in 2 locations, Lenexa Public Market and in Overland Park.
Which is where producer Jager and I are, but Matt is not, and he says he's home, but, we're not 100% sure. Yeah, we probably ought to geolocate him.
I could be sitting in front of a fireplace in the mountains someplace.
Man.
Yeah, that
damn
does
you,
sound
sir.
nice.
Damn your eyes.
I'm not, though. I am in the basement of my house. Imagining the mountains. I do have it up on my my screensaver, so that's as close as I'm getting today. But it's good to be with you too, even if it's at a distance. And we are glad to be back on the Sleeping Grush podcast to bring you all the best of Phelan.
We starting with On the Table, buddy?
Yeah. Let's start with On the Table, and that's me today.
Tell us, Matt, what's on your table for projects of Phelan in the hobby space?
Projects of Phelan in the hobby space. So a while back, you and I talked about a little project where we were wanting to do some Trials of Gravis at an upcoming tournament. And, as our tournaments get bigger, we just don't have enough trial stones to make that happen, which is an awesome problem to have. So I've started working on some trial stones, and we decided early on that we're going to do half of these trial stones as the DGS trial stones that you can pick up on dgsgames.com. And the other half, we were going to do something themed, something a little more off the cuff. And so I've got a whole bunch of these trial stones sitting around on my table in one form of completion or another that are hopefully going to be done pretty soon. Trial stones, the DGS Games trial stones are amazing pieces. They're easy to paint up, and which is good because they can get on your table really, really fast. Some of the ones that I've chosen to fill in, not as easy to paint up and taking me a little more time. So big plug and a big shout out to our trial stones, which are awesome. And like I said, you can get them on the website. And they're really cool looking, have the symbols right there on them, so there's no mistaking them. I'm basically dremeling the symbols into each of the trial stones that I'm doing. So they're taking some more time. But they're going to be cool. They're going to be some different things on the tables when you guys get around to playing the Trials of Gravis at a DGS event. So that's what's on my table today, sir.
Yeah, the little bit of lore. I think some people know this, but the trial stones that we sell were rocks found in the yard of one of the original members of DGS, molded. We made a mold of them, and we scratched out the runes in the molds so that they might survive to this day. I mean, they still, like you say, they still look good. They serve their purpose. They're, it's hard to recreate the love and history that are in the original set. So
I agree, and I don't even know why we should try. I think they're great pieces. Like I said, they're super easy. You could do a lot of detailed work on them, but for me, it's a good base coat and a couple of dry brushes and painting the runes and doing some base work, and they're ready to roll. It's a very, very quick, very easy process, and you get a product that looks really good on the tabletop.
Do you have them all based?
They are all based. They're all based differently, though.
Are the ones that you're? The reason I ask is it just occurs to me. I know we're using podcast time for this, but
Sure.
Remind me, I have a bunch of 50 mil bases flocked that something was removed from the center of, I think, old trial stones.
Oh,
So,
well, there.
I
I mean,
mean,
I don't have everything done yet, but the ones that I do
yeah,
have, okay. So yeah, I
remind
would.
me, remind me, and I'll bring them to you.
That'd be fantastic. Thanks, John.
Yep. It's like that, that guy with the garage, he saves the piece of wood. You know, what's that doing here? I thought it'd come in useful someday, so.
If you saw the the entire shelf that's sitting right next to the desk that I'm sitting at now here in my workshop in the basement. Um, I know exactly what you're talking about because it is full from top to bottom of basing and just gear, just for terrain making. It is my terrain shelves, and it's full to overflowing. So yeah, I am that guy, and it does come in handy for sure. All right, John. So for our Spike and Win segment here, tell us about this game with Ed that you had last week.
Yeah, so I didn't get the opportunity to play Madeline, so that grudge match is still hanging out there. Maybe tonight, we don't know. We'll
Yeah.
be reporting on it next week. We'll see. Ed McCarty and I played a game. My Haradel and his demons, uncharacteristically for him. He doesn't play him that much, does he? I mean, I think Ed, I think Erdegar typically,
Yeah,
So,
he kind of
uh,
cycles between demons and Kazaric and
oh,
Erdegar.
Kazaric, yeah, he's got a great Kazaric force. That's right, he does. Yeah. So, yeah, so we played Frontier, if I remember correctly,
Mm.
and um, my his force is, he's got the big guy. He's got I want to say he had two Carbazal. There's a Mokrull in there floating around, literally very annoying. A
Spooky hands.
Seriad, a spooky woo, a Seriad, and a Alpha Placra.
Oh wow.
Yeah, on your one of your tables that you set up last week. It's a town with a lot of fenced yards,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
walled yards, actually not fenced. So a lot of climb tests and messing around with that. A lot of constrained spaces. The center objective was inside one of those walled gardens.
nice.
Um, and my force is built to kill, specifically built to kill Madeline. But it's also very killy no matter who you are. I have the Knight of Vassilar, High Quester, the leader, mounted knight with the battle cry horn, um,
Right.
as a magic item. We talked about that, and then another knight on horseback, two Knights of Tanar, two Bears of Britain, and Enshrouder is my caster. Just an experiment. Really, it's Fist of Vidnar, I think, fits better, but I like that model and I'm messing around with it. And then
Yeah.
a couple of muster archers and a thresher. Big hero move by one of the muster archers. He's sitting around the corner trying to stay, out of harm's way because everything can kill him. But he's within three of the rightmost objective from my perspective, and as a Borgat in that walled garden on the objective, but he can't get credit for it because my muster archer is close. So he decides to come walking around the wall to attack me, and I take my reaction shot, and a 5 and a 4 later, I kill him. So,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So more bad mouthing my terrible follower choices results in death. Um, and the two Carbazal demon, it's my standard way of handling that. The well, really, a standard way isn't really the right way to say it. The way of handling that this force uses is the multiple attacks, right? So you've got Shield Bash on the Knights of Tanar, and the two axe attacks on um, the Bears of Britain, and you got to put something in front of the Alzalakar, and it was my leader that I did that with, not because she was going to hurt him in any significant way, because she wasn't going to die quickly, you
Right.
know. And it's tricky because he's got Bone Crusher. You don't have a heal spell with your Enshrouder. The things that might make that go on longer aren't in your pocket, but you need another model to eventually come in as she gets close to death and take her place. And
Right.
that's what will happen later in the game. And the Carbazals get ganged up on by things that, you know, um, he's great. He lives a while with those 4 wounds. He doesn't stop them with Die Hard or dodge or parry in any way. So it is a matter of time.
Mhm.
And he's only got D8 attacks back, and I'm armor 7. And I leaned on that really heavily.
I
Um,
bet.
and the Bear Breton paired up with the Knight of Tanar. The Bear Breton's got armor 7 and 3 wounds. So he's got to attack that guy as a protector.
Right.
And you get down to where you only got 1 life point left. You throw your axes into block and use the Knight of Tanar to pick off that last life point.
Nice.
So the plan, the way these guys fight that I had intended when I wrote the list worked out. And Ed is a great player. You know, I think he's more comfortable with Kazaric than he is with demons. I think he's still learning what he wants to do with them.
Right.
I think the list needs a little more in it. And if you're going to have the Carbazal holding your line, do you need both them and the Zalkar doing that? You know, um,
Right.
somebody out there need to be killing harder. You know, don't know. I think we have to get Ed on here sometime. I'll have to ask him if he thinks he did the right thing with his Alpha Placra. I don't think so. He went into the garden after one of my followers to secure it, but that's not the best use of that guy. He's got to be ranging around doing speed 9 things, and it didn't work out that way. So
It would it would be a lot of fun to have Ed on here one time.
yeah, let's do that. You know,
Yeah.
let's do that. Just
Making a
talk
note.
about yeah, and you know, one of the things we could ask him is, you know, talk about your take on your play style with Kazaric and, you know, what you're carrying over into playing demons and, you know, what you think your advantages and disadvantages are there. Be useful. Great game. Great guy. You know him well, better than I do. I mean, he's just a
Oh yeah.
fantastic dude to play, you know, so very
Yeah,
enjoyable
Ed's one of
game.
the awesome. All right. Well, let's move on to our topic this week. It kind of mirrors last week's topic. Last week we talked about
Yeah, they
these new
are
magic
connected.
items that are coming into Phalon and coming into the Free Blades. And this week we're looking forward to new gear coming into the game. So what's that about?
So those of you familiar with the game know that right now there is some gear that you can buy for your free blades as they join their free band. And there's also a section late in the rulebook of expanded gear options. The expanded gear options are going to be moving into the core rules for 25.3. So the version of the living rulebook that comes out in November is going to have many more gear options than currently available in the core rulebook, in the rules that you can play without, you know, getting your opponent's permission, or rules you can play in competition that are just going to be standard and not something that's an option. And that, combined with some work we're doing in Brightsword, combined with some things we found as we wanted to expand the possibilities with our magic items, um, in the way we want to have item improvements. The items section, the rules are going to be expanded in terms of possibilities, not complexity, but the things that you can do. So we're going to introduce the idea of enhancements. You can already have a couple. You know, you can have a fine crafted weapon that doesn't give you a new weapon. It takes the one you've got and improves it, right? There's
Right.
going to be more of that, and there's going to be items that do that. If you think about the current artifact Crescent Moon, it replaces your inherent sword, right?
Yep.
But you might have a sword and not want to replace it. Let's say you already have a Sakazit, you want to make it better, although, you know, Sakazit's pretty good.
It
But
is.
uh, let's say you wanted to make it better, so there's going to be ways to do that, and so that's going to be in that magic item deck coming out, you know, at the end of the year. There are going to be enhancements that are that make the weapon magical and give it additional capabilities. But the basic weapon that's on is the weapon that's on your stat sheet, the one that you came with. So, and we're going to give some clarification to consumables. There's going to be way more consumables in the game. The herbs that are on the list now in the expanded section, River Root, Wizard's Beard, Glowleaf, are going to be now mainline rules that you can take these things, how many you can have, how many you can carry, how many you can use during an encounter, how many you can use during a turn is all going to be clarified.
Right.
You know, and so there's going to be, between these last two versions of the living rulebook with all the magic items we added. Oh, and note to self, I got to go tell Greenie all this soon. You know,
Poor Green.
I know that the last episode we talked about how we had to give him his stuff for the Matt. He's going to hate me. He's absolutely going to hate me. It's a good thing he's such a sweetheart. Otherwise he'd kill me, I'm sure.
Right.
We're going to have, we're going to have those ads moved into the mainline game, plus a couple others that we've been thinking about, and then the sort of clarifications about how that works with, the upcoming Magic item deck as well, and that'll all be cleaned up, and made more clear on how it all works, but it'll also give you a ton more options with how you build your free band. Between these two, what is that? 60 things you can add from the 60 magic items from 25-2. I think there's like 25 items in the expanded gear options ish. 54 magic items coming in the magic item deck. I mean, that's all within the space of, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is. You're going to have a ton more things that you can mess with. And of course, you might have to be scratching it up with a pencil because Greenie might just say, screw you guys, I'm out. We don't know.
I suppose
so
that's
we'll see.
option,
yeah. So
what we asked this question last week, and it's probably much of the same answer, but why are we moving the rules to allow more options to build free bands?
So on the way back to my house last night, I listened to the last episode, on the way back to my house. And, so the answers are both fresh in my head,
Right.
Balance, right? Is the biggest rules issue that we have to make sure we address. But the reason why we're doing this is player request. I mean, the players want more options. It might surprise you, but I'm also a gamer myself, and I'm I'm into more options. I think everybody is.
Absolutely.
So the kinds of things that you can take, and sometimes it has the effect, and this is just everybody knows this. This isn't a big secret. It freshens models you already have.
Right? It does. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So you've got, and it's hard for me to relate specifically because I have the good fortune of having them all because I'm a member of the company. So my collection of Freeblades models is all the Freeblades models.
Right.
But if you have, let's say that you're Ed, because we were just talking about our good friend Ed McCarty, and you've got Kazark and Erdogar and Demons. I know he's got more than that, but let's just say those are the ones he has. And you've been playing Demons lately, and you put right before that you were playing Kazark, and your Erdogar been on the shelf for a while, and you're flipping through this rule book, and then you look at the 25-2 itself, you're looking at the magic items, and then you realize after listening to this podcast, the ones that are in the expanded gear section are coming, and then you also know that there's going to be a deck of brand new magic items coming in the fall on top of all that. And you go back and look at you know what I should do? I should take my Erdogar Valor and do this and this, and add this and that, and it's just, it's just another way to do something you've been doing. You probably have something about that you like, and you just you salt the taste. Or there's one model like it just doesn't fit my play style. If it just had X, it would play better what I'm trying to do, and then you add it, and it's gives a beloved model back off the shelf and onto the table. And that's a side effect we intend. It's absolutely deliberate to have that be a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yep.
So when can we expect
Uh,
these gear options into the rule book?
okay, so you can see them now. They're on page like 297 of the rulebook. I think I just saw that when I was working with it
Right.
this afternoon. But they're in the expanded gear options under the options section, which is in the back end of the living rulebook. They are all moving forward into the core rules, into the items section of the main rules. With there's going to be some slight modifications. When we clarify how many consumables you can use and carry, and how enhancements to weapons work. It's not
Right.
going to be perfect, and armor also. They're all going to be there. Do they work exactly the same as they do right now? Most of them will. Um, are they costed exactly the same as they are right now? Most of them will. A couple of them won't. You know, a couple might get cheaper because other things are coming,
Right.
and we want that to be a baseline. And maybe we were conservative, and um, how concerned are you going to be of fine crafted weapons when the Void Razor enhancement is available? So
Right. Right.
yeah. But it might be that the Void Razor is expensive, and maybe slightly down costed fine crafted weapon is just the right thing, for what you're doing, or the skill of the model, or the amount of gold you have left over, whatever your criteria is.
Right.
So, but you will see that in um, we release the next set of models and their associated LRB update the week of Black Friday. So,
So another thing to look forward to with Black Friday, because I mean we haven't really talked about it, but the model lineup is pretty awesome, and we've got a couple of other things that are coming out in or around Black Friday, and now this. So Black Friday is going to
have
be hot.
we, yeah, have we not done a podcast on the models that are coming for Black Friday?
Not yet.
No,
No.
we haven't. Oh, well, dude,
Yep. Yep. That's something
super
that's got to happen
sexy.
here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Need to have Jen on and talk some art, and we need to have the design team on and talk some rules. We're still showing them off to our Patreon crew and our
Right.
Patreon subscribers. You get to see them early. Um, but no, we haven't really talked about new models yet, so that'll be something fun to show off.
Let's what we ought to do, I think, is we ought to have Colin and Jeff on, and I'll cover the other ones in a separate, because it would be too long a podcast to go over every single model and all
Oh,
decisions we
sure.
made, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let them do the Darkbane, the Standard Bearer, and the Death Whale,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And have them we'll get them on, and we'll just let them throw some leading questions at them and let them talk all day about the cool design decisions and the funness of those models, where they fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Awesome. All right.
it is
So
awesome.
kind of a personal question here as we close this part of the show out. Which gear item are you most looking forward to using in your free band?
From the expanded gear options.
Yeah.
Oh, let's make it about me, Matt. Let's see here.
It's all about you,
I,
buddy.
well, what's interesting is what I've been working on. Those are already out there, and what I've been working on is the magic item cards. Very, very deeply into the magic item cards.
With the on-call oracle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ones that are coming in November-ish. We believe we're going to have them back there. We don't know for sure by then.
You'll
Uh,
hear this question again when we talk about those.
yeah. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Wizard's Beard. Right.
Yes.
It's a herb, and the herbs are you perform a special action, you consume the herb, and you get the game effect. And this one, a caster regains a D4 of power they have already used.
Right.
Um, I think that's fun. Uh, and as someone who is going to reinsert the Fist of Vidnar with his armored casting, negative into his force after I'm done experimenting with the Enshrouder, having a little wizard's beard on that guy to get some of that power back would be like, okay. Um, not that the two things are going to happen simultaneously. The
Right.
Enshrouder
Right.
leaves and the a drugged up, you know, a drugged up Fisted Redneck walks in with his pouch of wizard's beard, so.
Why
Um,
is that caster tweaking? I don't know.
yeah. What I'm not looking forward to is, because I've been taking a lot of cavalry lately, is the Caltrops expanded
Yeah,
gear option, where you throw on a 4-inch AoE that screws up cavalry,
yeah,
And it's also a permanent consumable. You use it up when you do it, but it stays on the table the whole rest of the game, So, not a fan of that. My Knights of Vassal are absolutely not a fan of that item. So
I,
we're gonna have to kill
well,
those people first. Yeah.
we've
So,
seen that go off to great effect in a game of Brightsword, and
oh yeah, sure,
man,
yep,
that's gonna be a ton of
it's
fun.
fun. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
All right. So, job board today. We didn't talk about this beforehand because we're great at communicating today. But do we have a do we have a job board?
I don't think
About?
so. I think we've cleared. Let's just go for fun's sake. Let's just get on uh, the a couple of our favorite channels on Discord. Uh, Rules questions, to kind of
Right.
back up my good friend Colin. Um, okay, here's one. There was a question. A couple of people are looking at the established Learn to Play Free Blades and other videos on our YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
they weren't necessarily everything that they wanted. So what I would say to that is, I'm just like glancing over the chat that he had with a couple of our players. Hey, tell us. That's something we're going to do more of, in the
Yep.
future.
Yep.
And so we're looking for, if we have something out there that wasn't helpful, tell us why. I couldn't hear it. I wasn't looking at the right things on the table. It needs to be shorter. I need, give me one rules example in a 2-minute video instead of, a game and half an hour, whatever. So get on there and let us know what it is you'd like to see, because we're going to definitely expand that whole branch of what we do in
Right.
a big
Right.
way over the next year. So
Right.
that's
Awesome.
my
Yeah.
that's my job board. That's my job board answer, Matt.
That's a great job board answer, John. I'm glad that you brought the ball since I failed to communicate that. All right. Well, folks, before we sign off, we'd like to thank Don Castile, a World of Phalon Patreon subscriber who supports DGS games and the Free Blades community at the World Builder level. If you want more information on the World of Phalon Patreon, please visit www.patreon.com/DGS games. So, Don is about to eat very well because the faction that he sponsors, the Pirates, are getting a pretty vast upgrade in the spring. So he's very much looking forward to that. Folks, we really appreciate you listening. If you have any comments or would like to see something on the Sleeping Grush podcast, please go to the Sleeping Grush podcast channel on our Discord, the World of Phalon Discord, and leave that suggestion or comment in the channel. John, thank you very much. Producer Jagger, thank you very much. And until next time, folks, we'll see you around the table.
Still Sakaba.